Hey, hey, hey. As promised, I'm back. Me straighten my little onk. Who knows about the onk? I love the onk. Who knows about orgone generators? If you watch this later on and you know about onks and orgons, let me know. They're so fascinating. Everything is energy, right? Energy is everywhere and is an ever-present language. That's one of those languages that's always, or conversations rather, not just languages, but it's an aspect of existence when you're talking about the energetic field that is ever present and always available for communication, for deeper insight into our lives, and to find deeper meaning um, as it relates to our connection, situations concerning us, or really just our connection to the earth why we are here, our connection to spirit. Everything is can be um, broken down or intuited in some level on an energy level or on the energetic plane. Anyway, I am back. I'm Cecily Simmons. This is Operation Fibroid Freedom. And yesterday, I said I was going to return with another surprise live stream, semi-surprise, because I announced it yesterday. So I'm back to just talk to you a little bit more. I'm going to do a lot more uh, posting of content, live streams. I have some videos coming as well. Really need an editor because I have to edit everything, and I have, obviously private coaching clients and recording courses and all sorts of things. So it's like it's hard to keep up with everything when you're just organizing things as an entrepreneur and business owner. But I'm pushing on just for you. So today I want to continue my discussion. Yesterday we talked about uterine fibroids, my personal story, and I answered some questions from some of my subscribers. And I got some great feedback from one of my subscribers because I answered one of her questions on yesterday's video. So if you have any questions, you're watching me today, you can drop them in the comments, but I'm just going to jump right in with more on my personal fibroid elimination journey. What the topic for today is really what having fibroids has taught me. Some keys that I have gleaned from, being a woman that was suffering with uterine fibroids to now being on the other side as a woman that is naturally fibroid free, obviously, but a woman that is empowered. Um, and what led me to being empowered and how it's directly related to having uterine fibroids, suffering with them, learning how to come to terms and deal with them, and eventually succeeding at naturally eliminating the uterine fibroids that were plaguing my womb. But I was just thinking about this today because, I guess you could say I'm an optimist. And I speak to a lot of women via my Facebook page and my social media, excuse me, and I see a lot of women in the message boards. And, the outlook is so dire, and I know we're all different. Our situations are different. So I'm not here to chastise anybody for how you may be feeling or your current situation where you may find yourself with uterine fibroids, with any sort of infirmity. But having uterine fibroids, definitely I was able to learn some things that have affected me positively. And I was able to learn some positive things about myself and my life when I had the uterine fibroids, when they were still bothering me, when I was still suffering with heavy bleeding, when I was still suffering with fibroids that kept growing, getting larger in size and smaller in size. So I want to give you um, just some tips for how to navigate. If you are a woman watching this, anytime you come across this video, you're suffering with uterine fibroids, and you can't see the forest for the trees. You don't know if there's really success or hope out there for natural fibroid elimination success. These are some shifts that I'm trying to suggest that you make mentally so that you can succeed. And of course, this talk is going to be more related to your mindset and your psyche, your emotional well-being, which directly affects hormone balance. Your hormone balance and your endocrine system is what's going to determine whether your body is overproducing estrogen. And estrogen dominance is the underlying cause of uterine fibroids, if we want to talk on a scientific level. But then, in order to effectively succeed at starting to shrink uterine fibroids, you have to put a system in place that addresses this overabundance of estrogen. And your system has to include some form of management for things that are not physical, which is why I'm going to talk about these mindset shifts you need to make, because some of the things that are not physical are also feeding the fibroids. So just to pause right there, we covered yesterday, that you need to be eating as plant-based as possible. My recommendation to see success with what needs to happen in your body to help your body to successfully, properly eliminate the toxins through, liver, through your skin, your bowel movements, sweating, through your reproductive system, is to eat plants, 75 to 100% plant-based, as vegan as possible within that window, So whatever you can do as far as eating 75 to 100% plant-based is ideal. If you can do all the way 100% plant-based, then I say start there, because we need to starve these fibroids from the things that we have been taking in physically through our diet, maybe through our beauty products, you know, um, I would say primarily it's through our diet, and maybe also things that we've been lacking. Fibroids are a signal that we are lacking in certain areas, and also being overly exposed to toxins in certain areas. But you've got to get real with the non-physical things that are stimulating growth of uterine fibroids, and that means having a real authentic discussion with yourself about toxic exposure in your life. It could be anything that is, causing you to feel imbalanced, anything that is causing you to feel negative emotions, and it could be yourself. It doesn't have to always be an outside person or source of negative influence. It could be your own mindset, but you have to have a moment where, when you're constructing a system for yourself, putting a system in place to get a handle and control over your womb, and start to commandeer your own womb wellness, your own body's natural ability to start to dissolve the fibroids. You're going to have to pair up some non-physical mindset work with the physical work, with your plant-based eating regimen and an herbs and supplements regimen. So what I learned, and these shifts are some areas that I would like to suggest you may want to start looking for answers in, or kind of rooting out for yourself, for addressing your mindset or addressing areas of non-physical toxicity in your life. It could be from relationships, could be stress at your job. It could be programming that is negative from your childhood, from your family, could be family members. It could be a low self-esteem or depression. It could be that you are trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, and that maybe you are trying to assimilate into the workforce in a certain job or career that you really don't feel like you belong anymore. NM says my ring is fabulous. Thank you. Thank you, NM. Thank you. Yeah, this one was actually, I bought that one. That one was not a gift. And this one was a gift from my sister. So I don't know which one you're talking about, but thank you. It's blue apatite. I'm really big on crystals and crystal energy for regulating and balancing our energy, directly related to womb wellness, directly related to the luminous field or the spirit or light body, and balancing blockages in your aura. So if you don't know about that, start to do research in that area, because again, that directly relates to the non-physical areas where we can be feeding uterine fibroids if we leave them unchecked. So some things that fibroids taught me about myself, some things that I learned, some areas where they were more of a mental muscle that was grown from struggling and suffering with uterine fibroids was were the following. These are kind of my virtues that I would say I've grown from having uterine fibroids. A positive way for you to say, you know what, I have fibroids, but you know what, they are teaching me these things as I work to heal them naturally. So one of the things was they taught me patience. Fibroids taught me to have patience. And I say that because I never knew when the womb wellness was going to occur. I didn't know what time. I didn't know what date I was going to become miraculously, naturally fibroid free. I just knew that one day it was going to be physically a reality. It was already a reality in my mind. And I knew that one day I would be physically fibroid free. I believed it. I chose to believe it until I saw it. I faked it until I made it, literally. So, and that meant suffering. That meant going through life and still dealing with the symptoms of uterine fibroids, still dealing with the heavy bleeding, still dealing with the protruding abdomen, still dealing with the over separating of my vertebrae, of the pain, of the constant nonstop periods, the breakthrough bleeding, all of that. Even through all of that, I stayed patient and stayed on my course with the other aspects or other parts or pillars of my natural fibroid elimination regimen, the system I put in place. But patience is something that I learned to have, So, and I started to see over time positive results. I would see days where, or times where the period would kind of go back to normal within reason. It was still heavy until I became fibroid free, pretty heavy, and I would still have minor flooding accidents, maybe less blood clots, but I stayed patient and I stayed with it, and that takes me to the second point. I didn't just get mad and throw my hands up and say, you know what, I'm done with this. I can't do this anymore. I'm going to, have a procedure done, a surgical procedure. I chose not to do that, and I committed to it and I stuck with it. And that takes me to the second virtue that having fibroids taught me, and that's consistency. And consistency goes hand in hand with commitment. I made a commitment to myself. I chose to believe in myself and my own ability to bring about this outcome that I desired. That was a miraculous feat to some, but I knew in my heart of hearts that I could will that into my reality. And I did. And there were times, again, where on in between having the fibroids to making the choice to stay consistent and be committed to my goal of becoming 100% naturally fibroid free, yes, there were times where it looked like I was not going to get there. There was times where it was like God was laughing in my face. And, I had a problem with the fibroid growing in size. It increased, but I knew I needed to push harder with the tools that I had. I had to try harder. I never gave up and I stayed consistent. I just kept trying. I just never stopped doing what I needed to do. And if I fell off the wagon with eating 100% plant-based, guess what? I made another goal to eat 100% plant-based for a certain period of time, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, a month, 3 months. I mean, because this was over a full 2-year period. And the last year was where I really put the pedal to the metal and I kind of started to understand how to put the regimen together of action steps based on what I saw was working for me. So that last year, I got really aggressive. And I was, not even phased when I saw something that was like a setback. I just was like, well, okay, this time I'm going to do more of this, and that's just really what it was. It's flexibility, versatility. Those are other keys that I learned from suffering with uterine fibroids. Resilience. These are virtues that I gained from suffering from the uterine fibroids. So, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, just really quickly. And the reason why that is important, I will reinforce what I said before, because you're like, okay, yeah, so what? So what? You learn these things. I already know these things. You may be saying, I already know resiliency. I already know how to be committed and consistent. I already know how to be flexible. I don't need to have fibroids to learn that. And that's great. You don't. You can learn all of these things on, you know, a team sport, or you can learn all of these things, working in a group with others in an office setting. It's important because it is a way to trick your mindset from being attuned to a negative vibration to a positive, higher vibrating pattern on the vibrational scale. Now, what is that going to do? When you reattune your vibration, your thoughts to uh, focusing on something where you can look at a negative situation in a positive light, you are becoming an alchemist, and you are creating a shift in energy that is going to directly affect your existence here in the earthly realm. You're creating a shift in energy that started out from a negative place to a positive, where you're making that negative situation that started out bad work for you in a positive way. And that is called transmuting energy. That is called being an alchemist. That is called being a designer of your lifestyle, moment by moment. And that's how you start to deal in situations of trouble, in times where you're being tested, in times of where you are being tried. And it is not easy. But, when my back was against the wall, I'm grateful that, I was raised by a wonderful mother, a wonderful father who helped me, at a young age and taught me how to deal in situations in times of difficulty, when you're alone, and how to function when you're in a situation where only you can get yourself out of, because that's really what uterine fibroids is. I am a fibroid coach. I have a 90-day private coaching program. You already know this. I just released a course I talked about yesterday. I'll tell you a little bit more about it after this talk. But the true answer is, the true reality of uterine fibroids is that only you can get yourself out of that situation. And the way you're going to do that is by transmuting energy, putting in your body what you know your body needs, and eliminating out of your body and life things, people, places, thought patterns that you know are not the best for you, and shifting things to work in your favor by working on your mindset, checking your psyche as it relates to the situations you find yourself in on a day-to-day. And that's really energetically you starting to talk about relating to the law of attraction and quantum manifestation, which is another big, huge area that my platform focuses on, the work being done in that direction. So that's what's unique about me and my platform. I like to pair up my coaching and my teachings with my clients. I'm going to do a lot more of the tutorials and the live classes, to where I start to talk more on the spirit work and the mindset work that needs to be done. The energy work that would need to be done in order to bring about and manifest positive change, womb wellness, manifest natural fibroid elimination, because it all works together holistically to make a pie that is natural fibroid freedom, or a fibroid free womb. It would be all of these things together. And you get those by organizing a system of pillars that make up a sound foundation of natural fibroid elimination, called your natural fibroid elimination regimen. So that is what I wanted to bring to you today. I'm not getting too many comments, except for the comment on my ring, which I thank you very much. But that's what I wanted to talk to you about today briefly. Is just, a way to start to deal is a good word, but more so than deal, I'm trying to think of a better way to describe this process. And it's really just a way to kind of make the situation you're in work for you. Is where you start to transmute energy. Where you have to start to empower yourself. If you have a womb, congratulations, you are a member of the divine feminine. Yes, we are all made up of a balance on a spectrum, basically, of masculine and feminine energies. But as the keepers and holders of the sacred womb, which is a beautiful replica of the divine womb which is our galactic womb, the space realm that we have. We have a smaller replica of that in our bodies that we have been gifted with. And it takes you to start thinking of yourself as a member of a royal court, of a divinely positioned member of a royal court, because you are the keeper of a sacred womb. You've been gifted this beautiful replica of this phenomena that exists in the heavens that we are directly connected with. Not just women, everyone on earth is directly connected to what goes on cosmologically in the heavens. You have a direct replica of that in your creative control center that is your womb. So the first step to starting to transmute energy is to take your seat on your throne as a member of the divine feminine, or what I like to call the divine woman. Because once you start to recognize and step into your role, take your throne seat as a divine woman, all things in your life have no choice but to come into balance. And that's when you start to really start to work as a master navigator over your life. And that is what I'm trying to get you to think along those lines. Think on those terms. You know, be entitled as a woman. Take your crown and put it on. Your crown of entitlement as a member of the divine royal court. A divine woman puts on her crown and she takes responsibility for her life, and she steps into her role and empowers herself to use these virtues that we talked about today, resilience, patience, consistency, commitment, to connect to one of the biggest secret weapons of natural womb wellness and natural fibroid elimination, and that is your intuition. Okay, your intuition is your magic wand. I could go on and on about this. This will be a whole nother topic, to be honest, but that is what you're starting to do when you are talking in terms of shifting a negative situation into positives, shifting uterine fibroids into a situation that you are working from to bring about a positive outcome in your life. You may be dealing with them now, but you will be taking the energy and shifting it so that you can shrink those uterine fibroids, because you're changing your a negative approach, negative thought patterns as it relates to uterine fibroids, to a positive outlook, so you can have emotional balance. And your emotional balance will lead to hormone balance. Your hormone balance will help you to more easily eliminate the excess estrogen when you are detoxing your liver, when you are nourishing your womb by getting a balanced minerals, herbs, and supplements plan in place. All of these things work holistically. So that is basically what I wanted to bring to you today. It's a deep, passionate, obviously I'm passionate about this topic. So I could talk about it all day. But one of the main parts and one of the main muscles that was grown, in addition to me, us, is very interesting. I'm glad that this is resonating with you, because it's not discussed regularly. And thank you for your comment, by the way. And it makes sense that this is not discussed regularly, because it's an aspect, again, of existence that we don't know too much about, because we only approach things from a scientific perspective, or especially in the Western world. We're not really trained to go into things and talk about energy. And a lot of people that I work with, a lot of people that know me, just from past jobs and not necessarily from my platform, they're not as tapped in energetically, so this is new talk to a lot of people. And then there's some of us, some women that I know, they're aware of energy. They're aware of the metaphysical plane, and thinking in terms of our aura. But it's rather than focus on the fact that it may be new to you, just know that it is an aspect of our existence in this earthly realm. It's always around. It's just not always discussed. But when you're talking about manifesting womb wellness, getting fibroids to shrink and dissolve, you got to start putting it all together to make a sound program that works for you to shrink uterine fibroids. The fibroids are a signal that there are things out of balance. And yes, that means things out of balance in our physical world, which I've already said, the diet, what we're putting into our bodies, maybe even like things like GMO, things like our meat, if you're eating meat with hormones and conventional farming practices, or, they've talked a lot about arsenic and chicken, and I could go on and on and on about these physical toxic things that we're exposed to through our food supply. But fibroids are also a signal that there are blockages and things being ignored, energy that has been left stagnant to build up and feed through our emotions into these arteries, into our womb, and grow a physical growth to manifest in there from these blockages. So that's why it's important to put everything together into a holistic plan that addresses all of these areas. So that's really, in a nutshell, how I know I was able to see success with becoming naturally fibroid free, is because I had a light bulb moment, a series of light bulb moments where I knew that I needed to get quiet. I needed to learn to trust myself, even as intuitively. I knew that I needed to listen to the unspoken language between my body, my spirit, my physical and non-physical bodies were talking. I needed to hear them. I needed to get quiet and understand what areas that I was leaving unaddressed as it related to maybe feelings that I never addressed, or things that I may not be saying. That's a huge one. Are you speaking your truth in every moment? Are you engaging in conversations where you still feel like your voice is not being heard? You need to start speaking up. If there's something that you need to say that you've been holding back, you need to start saying those things. It may be uncomfortable for you, or maybe you're, again, I said this yesterday, trying not to hurt someone's feelings, or trying not to rock the boat, or be a whistleblower, or something. Maybe it's a pattern in some people's family backgrounds. No one ever says certain things to certain family members. But if the family member or the person is toxic, it's going to create an imbalance for you to continuously go back and engage with this person, and you are not speaking in alignment with how you are truly resonating inside. That is causing an energy blockage. It's things like that that you have to start intuiting, along with eating plant-based, as well as implementing a sound, balanced herbs and supplement regimen that are going to start to get you big results with shrinking uterine fibroids naturally. So that's what I wanted to bring to you today. If you are interested in private coaching with me, I have a 90-day private coaching program where I can walk with you hand in hand and help you do all of this work personally, as well as instruct you on a week-by-week basis with how to set up your own natural fibroid elimination regimen, an action plan personalized to get results for you. And once the 90 days is over, you can have this plan that we've worked together with you, that you can continue to replicate, rinse, and repeat until you manifest a full fibroid-free natural womb. In addition to that, you can sign up for a 1-hour coaching session if you have a specific area where you are looking for assistance or information or guidance on natural fibroid elimination. Perhaps it's herbs and supplements. Perhaps it is a sound mineral and vitamin plan to manifest a nourished womb. A nourished womb means a fertile womb, and a fertile womb means a fibroid-free womb. It means a womb that is not feeding uterine fibroids and it's actually shrinking fibroids. Maybe you need help with what to do if you're experiencing heavy bleeding, blood clots, constant bleeding, breakthrough bleeding in between periods, flooding, anything with anemia or too much bleeding in blood. I have a whole better, building a better period coaching protocol that I offer. It is part of my course, which I'm about to tell you about, but I can also instruct you on that in the form of a 1-hour consultation. I had an awesome 1-hour session with one of my awesome new friends and clients last week, where she wanted to know specifically about the heavy bleeding, stopping the blood clots and the flooding, and how to kind of gain back control over her life so she could, have a convenient life and lifestyle and not always be stopped and interrupted and confined to her house from this heavy bleeding and flooding. So I do offer that as well. If you have one specific area, or maybe a personal area that you're looking for some help with uterine fibroids and becoming naturally fibroid free, let me know. We can do a 1 hour. And then finally, the big announcement yesterday, I have just released and am now enrolling students into my course, my first official course. The full course is all of the herbs and supplements that I use to become naturally fibroid free, available to you in the form of what I like to call the Fibroid Freedom Toolkit, herbs and supplements to shrink fibroids naturally. I'm so excited about the course. I'm really excited about my course because I've already gotten feedback from really happy goddesses who have already seen results within the first 2 days. One of the women reached out to me yesterday. She, a couple days ago, went out and got some of the products that I mentioned to stop the heavy bleeding and the pain, and saw immediate results. And she's been looking for solutions for years and spent thousands of dollars. And here, my course has helped her, saved her, and got some normalcy back to her being able to function normally and have peace and not have this heavy bleeding be plaguing her life all the time. She got that out of the Fibroid Freedom Toolkit. So I just want to give thanks to the Most High, give thanks to everyone who has bought the course so far. And I'm really excited to be able to share this information with you because it is tried and true, tested by yours truly, and it worked for me, and that is why I have it in the course first and foremost. I will be adding also, if you do purchase the course, just incidentally, it will be it's always going to be up. You can take the course on your own time. It's over 27 modules of information-rich, natural fibroid elimination rich content. And I will continuously be adding to this course. Just more information on natural fibroid elimination, things that I am able to find, any updated information. I'll be bringing more videos with more specific instruction like today in the course as well. So it's definitely exceeds the value exceeds the price, that's for sure. So anyway, the course is now available. I will put a link in the description of this video after I jump off of this live. And you want to join within the next 30 days. You want to sign up for the course because in 30 days it is going to go up in price. But anyway, the last way that we can work together is through my womb Reiki services. What is womb Reiki, you ask? It is a session that I offer in person or at a distance. You do not have to be local here in the Atlanta area. But basically, womb Reiki helps to heal and recalibrate or balance the chakras in the womb. You may be familiar with chakras in the body. They go up all the way from our top of our head all the way down to the root chakra, which is in the sexual organs, but there are also chakras in our wombs. And my services involve a focus on finding out where these, first of all, if there are any imbalances or blockages in the chakras, and then that information will tell me and tell you in an interview that we're going to have while this process is happening, areas that are interrelated in your life that we can also discuss for balance and life mastery and to manifest your biggest dreams and your desires. It's all related. So, as we mentioned earlier, it's basically reattuning your energy, helping you to ground your energy as a divine woman. Because again, if that ain't in balance, ain't nothing in balance. And when you do get that energy and take your throne seat, put on your crown, everything has no choice. Everything concerning you has to come into balance. People, places, situations, and including the desires of your heart, including your goals, including your passion, your purpose, why you're here. All of these questions are things that we start to intuit through working with your chakras and checking and finding out information based on what is out of balance, what is needing to be balanced, and why. The emotions, all of these things are going to be related when we talk about doing a womb Reiki session for you personally. So if you have some areas in your life where you're like, I just can't seem to fully get on my feet, or I'm not 100% sure what I'm supposed to be doing, or I'm not having enough success with certain areas, or my relationships, or I keep making the same mistakes, it's you just want to have a womb Reiki session to get your energies balanced and find out where these imbalances may be lying in your womb for natural fibroid elimination. They all relate. So give me a shout, send me a message on at via email, fibroidfreedom@gmail.com. Let me know what service you're interested in. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I would love to hear from you. I'm sending you peace. I love you. I'm sending you womb healing. I'm sending you womb wellness and natural fibroid elimination vibes. If you like this video, please share it with somebody. If you know a woman with uterine fibroids, or if you just know a woman who may be interested in grounding her energy, send her these videos. Let her know about my platform. Drop me a line, subscribe, and I would love to hear from you. Peace, goddess, and I'll